My parents refused to pay for my college but paid for my brother because he was more promising. They didn't even pretend to think about it. I brought up financial aid forms at dinner, said I needed help with tuition. My mom didn't look up from her plate. My dad took a sip of his drink and said, "You'll figure something out. Community college exists for a reason." That was it. No discussion, no pause, just a door slammed shut without the decency of a conversation. I remember nodding, chewing on dry chicken like my whole life hadn't just been thrown into a shredder. I didn't cry. That would have made it worse. I just stopped talking for the rest of the meal and pretended like the food wasn't making me nauseous. 2 weeks later, my brother got accepted to a private university out of state. We all sat around clapping for him like he'd cured cancer. My dad offered to co-sign the loans. My mom baked a cake. I stood in the corner, watching my family celebrate while I worked shifts at the grocery store and reapplied to community colleges I couldn't even afford on my own. I wasn't stupid. I knew the subtext. He was more promising. That's the word they used. Promising. Like I was some failed experiment they'd quietly decided to phase out. They always said I was sensitive, that I took things personally. That's their favorite gaslighting trick. They screw you over, and when you react, suddenly you're the problem. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just packed up my things and slept in my car for 2 nights while I figured out where to crash. I got a second job, then a third. No one asked me how I was doing. No one cared. I saw them post pictures of my brother's dorm move-in day. Matching shirts. Hashtag proud parents. I wasn't tagged. I wasn't even told it was happening. They just deleted me from the family narrative like I was a typo. I didn't go back home. I couch surfed, got shingles from stress, lost 20 pounds because I couldn't afford to eat more than one meal a day. Nobody noticed, or if they did, they didn't say anything. I took night classes when I could afford them. Worked mornings at the diner, evenings at the bookstore. I showered at the gym and kept a duffel bag under the break room table like it was normal. I stopped picking up their calls. There wasn't anything left to say. They still sent my brother care packages, AirPods, new hoodies, meal kits. I found out through Instagram I wasn't jealous. I was disgusted. I knew I wasn't perfect. I didn't get straight A's. I didn't win awards. But I worked. I tried. And they decided it wasn't good enough. That I wasn't good enough. I stopped pretending to be okay with it. I stopped pretending they were good people who just did their best. They made a choice. And I made mine. I cut off contact, moved out of state, deleted them from every account I had, changed my number. And the silence was loud at first. Then it felt like background noise. Then it was nothing. I thought maybe, just maybe, that would be the end of it. But 2 years later, I got a letter. Handwritten. From my mom. It wasn't an apology, it was an invitation. My brother had graduated. They wanted me to come celebrate. I laughed out loud in the break room, holding the envelope like it had personally insulted me. He'd graduated on time, debt-free, with a business degree and job offers waiting. I was still waitressing and figuring out how many credits I needed to finish an associate's degree that wouldn't even matter. They wanted me to clap for him. Again, like nothing happened, like I was never discarded. I tossed the letter in the trash and went back to work. A couple hours later, I took it back out. Not because I changed my mind, because I knew it wasn't over. They'd pretend everything was fine. They always did. But I wasn't going to let them rewrite the past. They made their choice. And now, it was my turn to decide what came next. I didn't respond to the letter, not even a text. I didn't owe them that. But a week later, my phone started blowing up. Unknown number, then another, then a blocked call that went straight to voicemail. It was my dad's voice, first polite, then guilt-trippy, then angry. The last one ended with him saying, "You're being immature." Right. I'm immature for not celebrating the Golden Boys' graduation while I was still living in a studio apartment where the fridge door wouldn't close unless you leaned a chair against it. I didn't even listen to the other voicemails. I blocked the numbers and went to work. I was grinding through 10-hour shifts at a warehouse by then, trying to save up to finally go full-time for the degree I'd been dragging through for years. Every class I took, I paid for with overtime and skipped meals. Every book I bought secondhand and resold online the day the final ended. Meanwhile, my brother was interning at some consulting firm. Paid. Full benefits. My mom posted about it on Facebook like it was breaking news. So proud of our brilliant son. No mention of the daughter who hadn't set foot in their house in 3 years. Then I got a message from my cousin. She didn't know I'd been cut off. She just asked if I was coming to the graduation party. Said my mom told the whole family I was off doing my own thing, but that I'd be back for the big day. Apparently, they'd left space for me at the head table. I nearly threw my phone. They weren't just rewriting the story, they were handing out copies like it was gospel. I told my cousin everything: the tuition, the silence, the fact that I hadn't seen or spoken to them since they told me to figure my own life out. She didn't know what to say. I didn't need her to. I just needed the truth to exist somewhere outside my own head. I went quiet for 2 days after that. I wasn't sure what I wanted. Revenge? Closure? A chance to finally say everything out loud and force them to hear it? All I knew was I wasn't going to let them use me as a prop in their happy family slideshow. So I made a plan. I didn't show up at the party. I showed up the night before, uninvited. I knocked on their door like I hadn't been erased. My dad opened it. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. My mom came around the corner and froze. I said one thing: I'm not staying long. I didn't wait for them to invite me in. I walked past them and sat on their couch, the same one I used to curl up on after double shifts, too tired to argue about being called lazy. I looked around and saw none of my pictures on the walls. Only his. My brother in a cap and gown, my brother at homecoming, my brother with some award in a glass frame. The space where my high school photo used to be was now a blank wall. That hit harder than I expected. But I didn't flinch. I laid it out. Not screaming, not emotional, just facts, one after another. How they told me no, how they supported him, how they pretended I didn't exist, how they decided who mattered and who didn't, and never looked back. My mom said something about doing what we thought was best. My dad tried to say they didn't have the money back then. I reminded them my brother had a MacBook, a new car, and a summer in Europe between semesters. They didn't deny it, just stared like they wished I'd disappear again. So I stood up and told them something I hadn't even planned to say until that second. You can celebrate him all you want. Just stop lying about me. Tell people I'm not coming because I cut you off, because you earned that. And don't expect me to pretend you're part of my life after this. I didn't wait for a response. I walked out and didn't look back. The next morning, I woke up to 2 missed calls, then a text from my brother. Just one line: you didn't have to make a scene. A scene. That's what they called it. Not survival, not honesty, just another inconvenience to sweep under the rug. I deleted the text and blocked his number, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I'd taken something back. Not revenge, not power, just the truth. And that was enough for now. Update 1. I didn't hear from them for months after that night. Not a single call, not a message, nothing. Which, ironically, was the first honest thing they'd done in years. They finally got the hint, or maybe they just gave up trying to manipulate me back into the family photo. Either way, the silence suited me. I went back to work like usual, packed boxes at the warehouse in the morning, took classes at night. By then, I had gotten used to the grind. You'd be surprised how fast your standards adjust when nobody's helping you. I didn't have time to think about what I'd said to them. I didn't replay the conversation. I didn't question myself. I had rent to make, bills to cover, textbooks to buy, real things, survival things. Eventually, I finished my associate's degree. No one handed me flowers, no graduation party. I printed the degree off at the library and folded it into the glove compartment of my car. The frame it should have gone in cost too much, and I needed gas more than I needed a symbol of recognition no one was going to see but me. I didn't post about it. I didn't even tell the few friends I had. Because at that point, I realized something I hadn't been willing to admit before. Nobody was coming. No applause, no surprise reconciliation, no heartfelt phone call from my mom saying she was proud. Just a cheap piece of paper and the knowledge that I hadn't quit. That was it. That was the celebration. I kept going, worked through winter flu, worked through burnout, got sick one week, slept it off in the backseat of my car with a bottle of NyQuil and a pack of crackers. The kind of stuff you don't post about. The kind of stuff that doesn't get sympathy because people think you must have done something to deserve it. That's the thing about being the one who was less promising. They don't see your fight. They only remember the time you acted out or stopped answering calls. I started freelancing part-time, writing, editing, whatever I could do to get paid without punching a clock. I taught myself everything from YouTube tutorials and free forums, learned how to file my own taxes, how to negotiate a raise, how to sound confident even when I was guessing. Every win was small and ugly, but it was mine. Then one day I got a message from an old coworker. "Is this your brother?" It was a link to a business article. My brother had just been featured as one of the top 30 under 30 in his field. There was a photo of him smiling in some glass office, a quote about perseverance and grit, and a paragraph about how supportive parents helped lay the foundation. I laughed when I read it. Actually laughed. The kind of bitter laugh that makes people look at you sideways. Supportive parents. Right. I guess cutting your daughter off and pretending she doesn't exist counts as laying a foundation if the other kid ends up on a magazine cover. Then came the text from my aunt. We're so proud of him. Hope you're doing well too. Like I was some distant cousin who lived in another state, not the kid who grew up eating the same food at the same table, only to be told she didn't have what it took. A few months after that, I got a message from my mom. Just one line. Hope you're doing okay. We miss you. No apology, no ownership, just that manipulative little nudge wrapped in fake warmth. We miss you. Like I walked away without reason, like the years I spent struggling while they clapped for someone else didn't happen. Like the decisions they made weren't decisions at all, just some natural force of life I was supposed to forgive by default. I deleted it, no hesitation, and I didn't spend the night thinking about it. I didn't cry, I didn't spiral, I had to be up early, and I still hadn't packed lunch. People talk about family like it's this unbreakable thing. Blood is thicker than water. Family always has your back. That kind of stuff. I used to believe that. Used to think if I just tried harder, kept showing up, kept forgiving, they'd finally treat me like I mattered. But that night, I confronted them. I realized something that stuck with me ever since. They never wanted me. Not really. They wanted someone easier to manage. Someone who smiled through the disrespect. Someone who didn't ask for anything inconvenient. They got that with my brother. And the rest? They discarded. They still live in that house, still post pictures, still go on family vacations with matching shirts and obnoxious captions like "my world in one photo." The first time I saw one, I felt something sharp in my chest. Now, I scroll past like it's an ad I've seen too many times. I don't even feel anger anymore, just distance. I don't get invited to holidays. No surprise there. I haven't celebrated one in years. I don't know how they explain my absence. Maybe they say I moved away and got busy. Maybe they blame it on politics or drifted apart nonsense. Doesn't matter. They rewrite the story however they want. They always have. My brother reached out once, sent me a picture of his newborn daughter. No message, just the photo. Like that was supposed to fix everything. Like blood ties suddenly erased years of silence, of being invisible while he stood on a platform built on what they refused to give me. I didn't respond. I don't owe him a relationship just because we share DNA. I didn't get to opt into this family, but I sure as hell get to opt out. And no, I don't have a big, shiny ending. I'm not rich. I'm not famous. I didn't prove them wrong in some public, satisfying way. But I've got a life I earned, and it's quiet, and it's mine. I don't ask for anything anymore. Not love, not recognition, not space at the table, because I built my own table. It's not big, it's not fancy. But I sit at it every day, knowing I didn't sell myself out to stay close to people who never once chose me. And if they ever want to know why I stopped coming around, why I stopped calling, why I didn't show up to birthdays or weddings or Christmas mornings, they can go stand in the hallway, the one where my photo used to hang, and stare at the blank space they made.